Hey everybody, welcome to my weekly start, sit analysis, and touchdown prediction video. I'm breaking them out into individual position groupings this week to make them easier to consume. I'm going to roll game by game. This is about wide receivers. Remember that if you want the full list of projections, please, you can email me or tweet at me, I should say. Just look at the information below and you can find my contact information. It's free, so go ahead and sign up. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? People that do follow me make money in daily fantasy, I'll say that. Okay, so wide receiver, I'm going to go game by game. Before we get rolling, please also remember to subscribe to the channel, like the video. Believe it or not, there's this whole hullabaloo that YouTube channels have to go through before we become YouTube partners. Once we become partners, our production quality improves. We can put some more interactive components in here. It'll better your experience. So, little time for you. Just click. Big difference for us. So let's go game by game. We're talking Thursday night football to begin with. Washington versus Minnesota. The only one I would say is a possible start is Terry McLaurin for Washington. I don't like anybody else, including tight ends here in the pass receiving game. McLaurin could get in the end zone. I think he's a fringe start. And by the way, I go between starts and fringe starts. Starts are guys that I think are definite plays no matter what. Fringe starts is if you have better options in running back or tight end and you can flex somebody in, maybe you want to do that. So Terry McLaurin, if you're desperate, I think he's a fringe start, but I wouldn't start anybody else for this Washington team. And McLaurin might get in the end zone with low yardage. For Minnesota, I say Stephon Diggs is a definite start. You might want to look at a guy like Ham or one of these other guys with Adam Thielen out. I would have said Thielen's a start, but I tend to think maybe Kyle Rudolph gets the other touchdown. So we'll see. But I do think Stephon Diggs gets in the end zone this week once, possibly even twice, but I have him more as once. Arizona versus New Orleans. I have Larry Fitzgerald as a definite start. I really hope that Christian Kirk plays because you don't want Lattimore matched up on Fitzgerald the entire game. You need somebody to draw some of that coverage away. But Arizona's been playing well. Hopefully Christian Kirk is back. I don't have anybody else for Arizona playing that well this week. So Fitzgerald is a fringe start for me. Possibly gets in the end zone, but I think it's more about catches and yardage for him. So I would say probably not. New Orleans, I think Mike Thomas is a definite start regardless of if Breeze plays. I think Mike Thomas is my second favorite wide receiver this week behind Tyreek Hill. Mike Thomas, I think it's in the end zone twice this week. If Breeze is playing, geez, we might have a Marvin Jones reenactment from the Week 7 Detroit Lions Minnesota Vikings game. Cincinnati versus the LA Rams in London. For Cincinnati, I have Auden Tate as a start, and I think he'll get a touchdown. I have Tyler Boyd as a start. I do not think Boyd gets in the end zone. For the Rams, I actually don't love Robert Woods or or Brandon Cooks this week. I think Cooper Kupp gets in the end zone twice this week, though. Let's see. The Chargers versus the Bears. I have Mike Williams as a fringe start. Don't think he gets in the end zone, but I think he'll actually, you know what? He might actually, now that I'm looking at it, he has a projection to get low catches but be a red zone target. So actually look out for him to be in the end zone. If you're in a touchdown only league, he's a candidate for a waiver wire play, I think, this week. Keenan Allen, I do think he gets in the end zone, and I think he'll have nice yardage against this Bears defense, believe it or not. For Chicago, I think Allen Robinson is a definite start and gets in the end zone this week, but nobody else for Chicago. New York versus Detroit. Let's see here. I have Sterling Shepard having a nice game for the Giants. I have him as a definite start and 1 to possibly 2 touchdowns, and then Golden Tate as well. I have him as a fringe start. I do think there are going to be multiple touchdown passes in this game, so check that out. I think that Shepard will get both of them, but we'll see what happens. Golden Tate could snake one of those away. For Detroit, I think Kenny Golladay is a definite start, gets in the end zone once or twice, and I think that Marvin Jones is a start but does not get in the end zone this week. He's a fringe start for me. For the Jets, moving on, we have Robbie Anderson as a fringe start. I think Jamison Crowder is a start, and I will say that he'll get in the end zone this week. That's my prediction. For Jacksonville, DJ Chark is a definite start. I think he gets in the end zone, gets some nice yardage. D.D. Westbrook, I think, is one of my favorite waiver wire scoop and plays this week. I think he gets in the end zone once or twice in this matchup against the Jets. We'll see. I think this Jets blitz will kind of screw. A blitz-heavy team kind of usually screws with rookie quarterbacks. So it might derail things, but I do think they'll have their opportunities deep in the passing game and underneath as well. Oakland versus Houston. If Tyrell Williams plays, I think he's going to get in the end zone. I think he's a definite start. I don't like any of the other Raiders receivers. If he doesn't play, honestly, the distribution is going to be so even between them. I'm not really sure what's going to happen there if Williams does not play, and he's been questionable for a while. Let's see, Houston, I have DeAndre Hopkins as a definite play, and I think he gets in the end zone twice. And Kenny Stills, with Will Fuller out, I think is a play and a touchdown candidate as well. This Oakland team is giving up passing yards. We saw it last week against Green Bay. Deshaun Watson could hit people deep. Oakland needs to generate a pass rush. Can they do it against Houston? I don't know. We'll see. I'm betting on the Houston passing attack this week, though. Philadelphia versus Buffalo. Alshon Jeffrey, to me, is the only one that you would consider playing, and I have him as a fringe start, no touchdown. For Buffalo, I think you play John Brown and nobody else, even Cole Beasley, I would sit on the bench. I don't even think he's a fringe start. John Brown, I think, is a touchdown candidate deep this week. Seattle versus Atlanta. I like the receivers for Seattle. I think that Tyler Lockett gets back in the end zone this week. I think DK Metcalf is a start. I think he'll give you nice yardage. I do think he'll get in the end zone. He was this close to getting a touchdown last week. They do look for him in the red zone, so check that out. Atlanta, Julio Jones is a start, but I don't think he gets in the end zone this week, especially if Matt Ryan's hurt. And then Calvin Ridley, I think, takes a step forward, especially with the trade from of Mohamed Sanu over to New England. He's going to have to be more integrated, so I like him actually a lot more going forward. It's just that Matt Ryan injury concerns me for both of these receivers. Tampa Bay versus Tennessee. I have Mike Evans as a fringe start. I don't think he gets in the end zone. I have Chris Godwin as a definite start. I do think he gets in the end zone once, possibly twice. For Tennessee, I'm higher on Corey Davis and A.J. Brown. Now, my projections say that A.J. Brown is a fringe start and Corey Davis is a sit. However, this is calibrated with a lot of Marcus Mariota data. I think both of these players are going to beat that projection, so I would say both are fringe starts and touchdown candidates, but that's my gut. That's not the analytics. I'm just saying I think Tannehill is going to have a much bigger effect on this offense than people realize. Carolina versus San Francisco. I don't like any of the Carolina receivers. For San Francisco, I actually don't like any of their receivers as well. I think this is going to be kind of a defensive matchup, a focus on the run game. These defensive and offensive lines are going to battle all day. I see it as like a 20-17 type game. Garoppolo hasn't shown me a lot as a passer yet. If anybody gets a touchdown, I think it would be Kittle, so I'm going to sit all of the San Francisco wide receivers, and I don't have any wide receivers projected to get a touchdown in this game. Cleveland versus New England. Let's see here. Cleveland, I do not have any receivers, including Odell Beckham, as a start. However, I recognize if you have Odell Beckham, you're probably going to start him regardless. I also have this, I think that Odell Beckham, he's too talented to not have at least one really quality scoring opportunity in this game. I think New England will do a really nice job of shutting Cleveland down. But, even though my projections, my analytics say that Odell Beckham will not get in the end zone, again, I think it's going to happen. I think Odell Beckham will beat these projections. I don't like Jarvis Landry, Callaway Higgins, or anybody else for Cleveland this week. For New England, I have actually my favorite start of the week for New England is Philip Dorsett, assuming he plays. He played last week, got in the end zone. I think he'll reproduce that and get in the end zone. Actually, I think he'll get 2 touchdowns, possibly a little bit more. I don't know how integrated Mohamed Sanu will be. I think this week probably not. Jacoby Myers might be a candidate to go in there and get meaningful snaps like he did on Monday night. Josh Gordon, obviously, we know what's going on with him. He's going to be gone. Let's see. Julian Edelman, I actually don't even have as a fringe start, but if you're in a PPR league, I would play him personally. I think he'll beat the projection, in my opinion. Just not a touchdown candidate for me this week. Let's see. Denver versus Indianapolis. I would have had Emmanuel Sanders as a fringe start, but he's gone. So to me, that means Cortland Sutton is a fringe start, and Deshaun Hamilton now is a fringe start. I don't like their prospects to get touchdowns, but I do think they'll get catches and yards. For Indianapolis, I think that T.Y. Hilton is a fringe start. I think it's going to be tough sledding, and I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. I don't really have either one as a touchdown candidate. Paris Campbell, if he plays. We saw Pascal last week. I don't think he gets in the end zone. So T.Y. Hilton's my only fringe start for Indianapolis this week. Green Bay versus Kansas City. Devontae Adams, if he plays, I think he's a definite start and gets in the end zone. If he doesn't, then I think Valdez-Scantling is a definite start and gets in the end zone. I don't love Geronimo Allison, Lazard, Kumaro. I don't love any of these other guys. Now, if Devontae Adams plays, I think Valdez-Scantling goes down to a fringe start. But whoever this primary receiver is for Green Bay, I think does get in the end zone this week against Kansas City. I mentioned before, but Tyreek Hill is one of my favorite wide receivers this week, even without Patrick Mahomes. Remember, Andy Reid is calling these plays. He's going to get Tyreek Hill in space. He always does. Matt Moore is capable enough to hit him. I do think that Tyreek Hill gets in the end zone twice this game. And I think Sammy Watkins is a fringe start. But I like, out of the pass catchers, I like Travis Kelce a little bit more. So I think it's just like a Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and screen game type passing attack for Kansas City. So Tyreek Hill I have as a definite start, which is good for me because I have him in my league. Last game of the week, Monday Night Football, Miami versus Pittsburgh. I don't have any Dolphins even as a fringe start, so no Devontae Parker, no Preston Williams, whoever else is there, Jakeem Grant, whoever they're putting in there. For Pittsburgh, I have Juju Smith-Schuster as a start, possibly a touchdown, but I don't think so. And I don't like any of the other guys. I know James Washington is questionable this week. I've been high on Deontay Johnson in this offense. I still am. I like him on the waivers, but just not this week. So there you go. There's another episode. Please, again, remember to like and subscribe. If you want my full projections, contact me with the information you see below. And we'll catch you on another episode soon. Thanks, everyone.